Hello, everybody. How's it going? Good to see
Hello,
you today.
how you doing?
All right, good, good.
How
All
you doing,
right.
Kathy?
I am going to, I think Nick is here with
Here
me
with me.
and somewhere in here. He's going to be answering any questions and everything like that because otherwise I get distracted. So he's going to, so anything questions you have, go ahead and throw those at him. And I'll try to answer maybe some. I don't want to take up like a ton of time today. It's just we've been getting a lot of questions and things that have been happening that we've been talking about with wedding pros, and it's like, okay, we gotta address this. We gotta like talk about this because it seems like people aren't really understanding like what is going on with the market right now. So I wanted to just go over some of that and talk a little bit about what we've been seeing and offer some solutions because it's very frustrating. This is a really crazy time in our economy, especially after we saw, if you've been around long enough, which I'm guessing most of you, if you're here, you probably have been, you've been in your business long enough that you've seen the ups and the downs, but especially over the last 6 years. We're about 6 years post COVID. We had the huge wedding boom. Now it's like this huge crash, and sometimes it comes up a little bit, but it's like it's not consistent, but there's a reason for that. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because there is a way to kind of, I don't say like hack the system, but when you understand a couple of core things, that's what's going to make the change and make it feel a lot more consistent in your wedding business. And also, like, you don't have to be moving a bunch of things around. You don't have to be dropping your prices. You don't need to be coming up with new packages. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff if you've got the right things in place. Okay. So, what I want to talk about today is what we've been hearing from, we talk to dozens of wedding pros every single week, and we keep hearing the same thing. And that's if I can just get people into a call, I can close them. If I can just get these leads that are coming into me into a call, then I can close them. And that totally makes sense. The problem, though, is getting them out of the inbox and into a call, right? Into a conversation, because that's where you usually build the relationship with people, right? It's where you are able to make those connections. It's where you're able to get them to see why you're different and to kind of get them to fall in love with you essentially, and why you're going to be the right wedding pro for them. But if we can't get them out of the inbox and we can't get them into those calls and everything, then as these leads come in, they're not turning into bookings. They're not converting. Okay. And that's what we have to fix is that gap between the inquiry and the booking. All right. So is this all sounding familiar? Is this kind of what you guys have been seeing? I
Yep.
know that this is something that we've been hearing a lot whenever we're in conversation with people. But where things really go wrong is where most wedding pros are trying to fix this, and that's by getting more leads. And that's the other thing that we hear consistently is, oh no, I just need to get some more leads in. I'm just going to run some more ads. I'm going to do some wedding shows. I'm going to do some things like that. Those are all methods that work. Okay. These are not poor methods. But if you're not able to get the leads you already have to become weddings more frequently, then adding more leads to this problem is not going to fix it. Okay. I get it. It makes sense because if you think about it, like, all these leads, it feels like all these opportunities, right? It feels like statistically, it should make sense that if you have more leads, you have more opportunities to convert them, right? But this is a case where looks are absolutely deceiving. Okay. And it's a total cliche statement, but it's a cliche because it's true. If you can't keep pouring water into a leaky bucket if you don't fix the holes. And if your problem is that you're not getting enough of these leads that are coming in to turn into bookings, and you're trying to fix them by pouring more leads into your business, then that's exactly what you're doing. You're putting water into a leaky bucket and then wondering why you don't have any water. And it's just this massive waste of time and money and effort because more water isn't going to stop the bucket from leaking. You have to patch the holes first. Okay. So this is why you got to focus on how to get more of those leads you already have to convert. All right. And so if you think about like from going back to like the math perspective, okay, just doing a little bit of math. How many inquiries are you getting each month? think about that. Okay, how many are coming in through various different sources, whether you're running ads, whether you have referral sources, whether you're doing wedding shows, you're just, Google search, any of those things, social media even. Think about how many of those you're getting on average per month. Okay. Now think about how many of those are actually booking. And then start thinking about what would happen if that number improved by just 15 to 20%. Okay. Like not even, it's not like you have to convert all of them, but just a little bit of an increase. What is that going to look like for you financially? What are the numbers going to look like for you? Okay. It's really important that you think about that and you have that information, because that's one going to give you a better goal, but it's also going to help you understand that if you just focus on the conversion element, then you're going to see an increase in your revenue. And it's like this momentum and this, rock is rolling down the hill and it's gathering speed. It's going to make everything in your business just start flowing more naturally. Okay. And this is why you have to be conversion focused in your wedding business, not lead focused. All right. But the only way that you're truly going to get this to happen is by having the right messaging. Because if you don't have the right messaging, any of the lead sources that you currently have now, as well as the conversion methods that you're using, they're not going to work well, because you're not sure what to say to these couples that are going to get them to see that you know what they want, you know what they're truly worried about on their wedding day, and how you're going to give them the experience that they want and serve them better than anybody else. Because if we think about it from their perspective, okay, it's so important we put ourselves in our couple's shoes and we understand what is going on in their heads. And if you think about what they're going through right now, they have tons of options. They're overwhelmed. They have a ton of people coming at them, and they're trying to figure out who is going to be the right one for them. Now, you also have to remember, these are people who are not as knowledgeable as you are. Okay. This is the whole curse of knowledge thing. If you've probably heard us talk about, we didn't come up with it, but we talk about it a lot because it's so true. You know so much more about your craft, about your service than anybody else, and definitely more than your couples. Okay. They're operating off of this very baseline level of information that they've gotten from, information that other people, other recently married couples have given them, or that they've read online, or they've seen on, social media. There's all of these things that they've learned, but it's still very surface level. You know so much more than they do about why the way that you do things is better than other people, how you have a higher level of talent, a higher level of dedication, commitment, the way that you serve them better than anybody else. You know how important that is to them for their wedding day, for their wedding planning, and how this is going to give them the experience that they actually want. But when they don't know this, they're operating very surface level. And if we don't connect those dots for them and show them how what they understand and what we know they want on their wedding day, how you bridge that gap as well, then they're never going to understand what makes you different from your competitors. And if they don't understand that, the only thing they have left to go off of is price, because that's the only thing that's actually setting you apart from other people in your market. And I know that if you are a higher level wedding pro, you're not a starter, you're not a beginner, you're someone who has something amazing to offer your couples based off of all of the years of talent that you've put into your business, the effort, the commitment that you've given. It's just diminishes you so much to be reduced to a price. And they're not able to get past that because they don't understand what that means. They don't understand that your knowledge and your talent level, it should be so obvious to them, but it's not, because they don't understand our business the way that we do. Okay. So this is why you have to speak to them in a way that connects with them, that makes sense to them and where their understanding is, and then bridge that gap by connecting the dots for them. And the way that looks is by, first of all, speaking to them and what they want to hear and where they're coming from, not from where we're coming from. And it feels very natural to say, like, oh, I have X number of years in the business, or I have, this level of equipment. I do these kinds of things. And it's very me focused. But every single person in this world, it's just a human nature thing. We all need to know what's in it for me. We all need to know what this means for us and what it is that we're looking for in a particular situation. So for your couples, they need to hear what all of those things that you're talking about with yourself, how that's going to relate to their experience, to their wedding day. And it goes even a level deeper than that. It's understanding what it is that they really want from your service and from your talent, which is, again, so much more than just the surface level of what they think they want. So for example, if we're talking about, like, I was working recently with a student who is a live band leader. Okay. And when I was talking with him, and we know as wedding pros, okay, he knows as a live band leader that his couples need entertainment. And, most couples, when they're talking about entertainment, they're trying to decide, okay, do we want a DJ or do we want a live band? Okay. His couples obviously want a live band. Why do they want a live band? Okay. You have to get down and understand what is it, because it's like usually most people who are looking for a live band are not just looking for like background music. They're not looking for like just someone to be up on a stage or in a corner somewhere and just kind of providing, soft background music just to kind of keep things pleasant. Because if that's the case, either it's going to be for cocktail hour or they're going to hire a DJ. They're going to look for something where it's like before you get into the main event, which is the dance floor, okay? Getting people on the dance floor, staying there. And these people that are looking for the live bands, they're looking for some sort of a different experience than what DJs will provide. And again, this is no shade to DJs. I'm not trying to say one is better than the other. It's just understanding which kinds of couples appreciate this and which kinds of couples appreciate that, okay? So with this live band leader, he knew that his couples are ones that these are the ones that are usually going to a lot of local concerts. They're people that love live music. They will go and they will travel to go see bands. They just love that live music experience. But if he's just saying things like, yeah, we're going to get people on the dance floor. People are going to have a great time. It's going to be, we're really good at what we do. That's not enough of a reason for them to say that his live band is better than another live band. He has to speak to what it is that his couples really appreciate about his type of performances that his band does. Okay. So that's what we got into. And it's like, once those things start clicking, it just makes sense. And he's like, he's going, yeah, that's exactly it, because he knows what it is. But he had been keeping everything so surface level in his marketing that it just wasn't resonating well enough. It's not making it click for these couples. That's why you have to go down to this deeper emotional need. Okay. So when you have that deeper emotional need, you understand that, and then you start putting it into your marketing. Okay. This is, first of all, how you make your lead sources, your lead efforts work better for you. How you start bringing in more of the right kinds of couples who already understand why you're amazing, why they should go with you, and why they're going to love working with you. Because you basically, the things that you would have told them in that call, that conversation you're struggling to get them into, you're telling them that ahead of time. You're pre-selling them before they even get in there, because you've got your marketing on point by speaking to that emotional need. Okay. So when you do that, now, like I said, you're bringing in the right people in the first place, already excited about what you do, how you do it, and why you're going to do this better than your competitors. But then secondly, like I said, they're coming to these calls already warmed up. And that's what's going to massively help your conversion efforts. Because think about when you've been in conversations, I'm sure, where you've had comes in and they found you online somewhere, and it's somewhere that is just, I don't know, they saw you online and they're like, just send me your packages and pricing. Super generic inquiry, no additional information, no even like, hey, I loved what I saw, or, someone said something great about you. Not even any connector, just like, hey, can you send me your packages and pricing? Okay. What's going to happen if you do get them into a conversation? You're going to feel like you have to sell them, right? Because they don't know anything about you. They don't understand, how you're any different than the other 4 or 5 wedding pros, they've been interviewing and researching for this area of their wedding. You have to basically like sing and dance for them and just like, hey, this is why I'm the best. This is why I'm amazing, which again takes us back into the all about me category rather than all about them and their experience and helping them feel like they are understood and that you get them in a way that other people don't. Okay, so that's the first problem with that. But secondly, it's like you have to do all this work, all this heavy lifting of like proving why you are so good at what you do and why they should hire you. And that is a terrible position to be in because not only is it putting you in this position where you basically have to prove yourself, but it's also really frustrating because you shouldn't have to. You're really good at what you do, and really your work should speak for itself. Your images, your videos, your anything else that you have online that, anything that you're putting out there for your marketing, okay, it should clearly communicate why you're better at this than anybody else. It should be so obvious, but it's not because these couples, again, don't understand our industry. They don't understand what makes one wedding pro better than another if we don't help bridge that gap for them. If we don't help them connect those dots by speaking to that emotional need. Okay. So going back to that call that you're having with them, if you're having to do all of this work, all of this effort and everything, what usually starts happening with those couples by that point? Their eyes are going to start glazing over. They're going to start getting bored. Like, yeah, great. Sounds good. Okay. What's the pricing again? Puts you right back into the pricing conversation. It makes you just a price all over again. Super, super, super frustrating. You shouldn't have to be at this point. Okay. So instead, if you're conversion focused rather than lead focused, like I was saying a little while ago, okay, you're conversion focused by putting the right messaging out there in the first place in your marketing and also knowing what to say in those sales calls. You've got couples who are coming in already understanding what makes you different, why you're better at this than everybody else, and understanding that what it is that they're actually looking for from their wedding day experience. Okay. So they're coming in already warmed up. It's going to make it so much easier for you to just be able to build a relationship with them, to get to know them, to understand, hear more about their wedding, and get to know them as people. And that makes them feel like they're connecting better with you. You don't have to do all this heavy lifting, song and dance selling. It's already been done by your marketing. Okay. Now you can just make that connection with them and you can show them the options based off of your package offerings. You can just show them the options that are going to make sense because you're not trying to break through this barrier of getting to know them and demonstrate why you're the best. You've already done the demonstration part of why you're the best. Now you're just getting to know them and giving them the best solution based off of what you heard of what's going to give them that wedding day experience. Okay. That's also what is going to help you to sell at your higher package rates. Because not only are they like understanding better why, how you're going to be able to serve them, you've built trust with them now. They didn't have to because they have not, in the course of this one conversation, gone from cold to kind of getting some information. And now they're like just bracing themselves for the sticker shock of how much you're going to cost, which as a side note, it's always sticker shock. You could be super affordable, which again, if you are a higher level wedding pro, you're probably not the most affordable option. You shouldn't be. But they're always going to have sticker shock, again, because they just don't understand our industry. They don't understand the work that goes into the preparation for this. They don't understand the talent level. They don't understand the value of what you bring. Again, unless you have done that work of connecting with them ahead of time. Okay. So when you have those things, you have all of them in place. They're coming to you pre-warmed, already starting to trust you. And they're going to be so much more receptive to the offerings that you put in front of them. Again, I'm trusting that when you have these conversations, that you have their best interests in mind, right? You were trying to give them you're going to offer the program, or I'm sorry, the package that is going to give them the best result for their wedding day. not just because you want to make the highest sale. It's a nice bonus, but I know that you're trying to give them what they actually need. They're going to have that trust that that's exactly what you're doing and that you're not just trying to sell them on your highest package. So they're going to be more receptive to what you're going to offer them because you built that trust, because they see your value, because they already are starting to understand this is probably going to be the right person for us. I just got to get a couple questions out of the way and we're probably going to be ready to move forward. That is what messaging does for you. And it's why you have to get this locked in to be conversion focused, not lead focused. Because leads is just like getting more leads in, it's just a numbers game. But the thing is, like I said, if you keep putting all that water into a leaky bucket, it's not going to make things better. You're not going to be able to have more water. You're just going to have more of a mess, right? Instead, if you patch those holes, you fix this bucket by getting the messaging right, then additional water leads that you put into your funnel are going to be able to stick around longer. They're going to have a greater impact and they're actually going to do what you need them to do, which is to turn into bookings. And not only that, but you're able to serve more people too, which I know is really why you're in this business in the first place. Because especially with everything we've been going through these last couple of years, I know that you wouldn't be doing this if you weren't passionate about what you do, right? So this is where we have to fix things. We have to make sure we've got that messaging right so that every marketing effort we put out, every ad, every lead ad we run, every follow-up email we send out, every wedding show, display that we have out there, every social media post is all saying the right things to the right people so that they come to you ready to have that conversation and way more likely to make that leap into saying, yes, I want to move forward. Okay. So this is the number one thing you have to fix in order to finally make that leap from these leads that are coming in to turning into bookings is getting that messaging right. And I know there are a lot of you out there that are like, I don't know what to say. I have no clue how to say this. I just know that I'm not saying it right because more of these leads aren't turning into bookings. This is exactly what we help with. Okay. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this because I know that this is what makes the difference in your wedding business. Okay. And this is everything that we do. We do show you how to do marketing for your wedding business. We show you how to run lead ads. We show you how to do all of these things that are kind of like the basics because those are easy. It's what you say in them. And it's the way that you get these couples to connect with you. That's the hard part. Okay. That's what is not easy to pick up from, a couple of tips and tricks you find online and things like that. Okay. So that's what we do with you guys. We have this program, if you haven't heard of it before, called the Growth Academy. That's what we do. We sit down with you every single week. You have the ability to connect with a copywriting coach that his name is James. He's amazing. He's so good. And we have these materials that we help you to get this big jump start right away. But it's the feedback to make sure you're getting the right things. You're saying the right things to the right people, making sure that you're tweaking things, putting things in the right places, saying it the right way. This is what we do. So if you're at this point where you need to fix this and you don't want to mess around anymore, you don't want to waste more money on ads, you don't want to waste more money on courses, you don't want to do those kinds of things, I know we can help you with this. Okay. And we would love to help you with this. So I think Nick is probably going to put a link in the chat with schedule a call and to learn more about what it's like, if this is the right time and the right thing for you right now. And we want to start doing more of these sessions for you guys because like I said, I don't want you guys struggling with this anymore. And I get way too passionate about this. And I see and Nick and our team will, tell me about these conversations that you guys are having. I'm just like, oh, if we just fix this one thing, it makes such a huge difference. Okay. So we want to help you with this. Go ahead and schedule a call with us. We can show you what that looks like. And we'd love to help you with this, get this moving forward, get you fixing things in 2026 and make sure that you are not feeling so frustrated anymore. Okay. So, like I said, we have a couple of things we're going to be teaching. We want to do these more regularly. And if there's anything else that you guys have been struggling with and you want me to talk about and help give some insight into, let me know. Okay. You can either put it into the chat here. You can send us an email. I know it probably gets, well, obviously, if you're here, you got the link. So you can reply to that. Let us know what it is that you have been seeing and what you've been frustrated with, because we want to make sure that you guys have the tools, you feel equipped. So that way you're not chasing leads anymore. You're not feeling like maybe things just aren't going right in your wedding business anymore. And maybe it's time to start exploring some different options. Nope, it's not time for that. You just got to fix a couple of little things and it's going to be moving forward so much better. So let us know. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat, see if there's anything in here that anything that we can answer. What's that? Oh, meaning should we put pricing on the website? Should you put pricing on your website? Ooh, yes. Okay. So yeah, that is that's a fun little thing. And that really needs its own session. Maybe we should write that down for like another one to do soon, because this is a fun one. We take the position, I'll just give you a quick one. I can go more in depth on another time, but we take the position that you should not put your pricing on your website for the exact reasons that I talked about earlier about reducing you down to just a price. Because most wedding pros treat their website like it's a brochure, and they give facts and figures about how many hours of coverage, how many hours of service, like the basic like bullet point information, and then they have the price. Well, again, if we're not helping them to connect the dots because they don't understand what any of those things mean, they don't know and don't understand what X number hours of service or coverage or whatever is going to mean for their wedding day experience, we're not able to demonstrate our value. And if we can't demonstrate our value, then they can't justify that price in their minds. They're not understanding what's going on. So they're like, well, this person sounds really good. This person sounds really good, because in their mind, this is an apples to apples comparison. Like a photographer, for example, I really like these pictures. I really like these pictures too. Both are really pretty. They're both available on my date, but this one is more expensive. Who doesn't want to save a buck in this economy? Okay. Who doesn't want to save some money? So they're like, well, they're both nice, but if I'm going to save some money and I'm going to have a little extra to be able to do something, okay, well, then I'm going to go with the cheaper option. This is how we get price shopped. This is how we end up getting, even when we do book couples, they try to squeeze us out for our lowest packages. It does not make for a sustainable business. And that becomes a really big problem really quickly. And with our students, whenever we suggest this, and we do have ways, if you're not comfortable with that, you really want to do something in the middle, we have some ideas for that and some ways to recommend. But when we do know that when our students have taken the pricing off, one, they not only get a lot more sales calls, they actually get those couples, those leads, to make that leap from inquiry to a sales conversation. But secondly, they're able to actually talk with them and to say, hey, what do you want your wedding day to look like? And then, like I said a minute ago, they're able to actually give them the right package offering based off of what they actually need and what is actually going to give them that experience that they're looking for, not just what they think they can afford. Okay. Because couples, and this is true actually in general for any consumers, consumer psychology is people will pay for what they value. So if we don't build the value for them, we don't show them how valuable this is, you're always going to be reduced to just a price. And that's why we suggest not putting it on there, because that's all it's going to do is keep you at a price, not as a person and a professional who has something valuable to offer. Okay. All right. So any other quick ones? Because it's already 11:30. I don't want to take up too much time today. Okay. All right. These are really good. Like I said, if you guys have any other ideas about what you want us to cover, send us an email, let us know. But otherwise, go ahead and set up a call, talk with Nick and our team, and get to understand what the Growth Academy is like, how this can help you to bridge that gap, and how you can make that leap from these inquiries that are coming in to actual bookings, and how you can make them really quickly, because now's not the time to be messing around. We got to fix this quick, right? Fix those holes in the bucket. So thank you guys for being here today. Let us know what you want to hear and set up that call, and we'll talk with you soon. Okay. Have a great day, you guys. Bye.